At 14,000 feet above Northern California, a sleek white Piper Malibu cruises smoothly on an instrument flight plan, carrying a family of 3 and their pilot toward a pivotal university visit in Eugene, Oregon. On board are a 67-year-old aviator and a close-knit family, united in a journey charged with both purpose and promise, one that holds the weight of a young man's future. A formative stop at the University of Oregon lies ahead, marking a threshold between adolescence and independence, a moment rich with quiet hope, significance, and the unspoken bond of a family moving forward together. Yet, somewhere between forecast and reality, the balance slips swiftly and without warning, as subtle complexities gather, and the sky narrows toward a single, unforgiving outcome.
Stop. Here.
Read 123 Sierra Bravo, Cascade Approach, how do you hear?
It's just after 7:15 on a serene Friday morning as a white Piper Malibu taxis slowly across the apron at Van Nuys Airport. In the cabin, a family settles in, focused and ready for their journey. There's a quiet sense of hope and purpose as they begin this flight toward a new chapter. What they don't know is that this is the final moment of peace. This moment of calm is about to collapse into something far more unpredictable and unforgiving. In the days leading up to the flight, the Zitting family focused on what lay ahead. At 17, Brendan, an honor roll senior and competitive swimmer, was thoughtfully weighing his college options with the University of Oregon at the top of his list. Evenings were spent planning the trip with his father, 42-year-old John, and his 37-year-old mother, Karen. The visit to Eugene promised a chance to explore the university's programs firsthand, including its well-regarded collegiate swim team. Now, just days later at 7:22, November 123 Sierra Bravo accelerates down the runway and lifts smoothly into the clear Los Angeles sky. The aircraft climbs with deliberate motion, landing gear retracting as it begins its steady ascent. The pilot checks in with SoCal departure and is cleared on course, northbound under instrument flight rules, bound for Eugene, Oregon. At the controls is 67-year-old Mark Aletky, a contract pilot from Acton, California. Once a professional drummer, he left the stage at age 45 to pursue his long-held dream, a career in aviation. Now commercially rated and instrument certified, Mark has logged more than 5,000 flight hours, including over 160 in the Piper Malibu. Admired for his steady hand and generous spirit, he often welcomes others into the cockpit, sharing his passion for flying with patience and enthusiasm. Having departed Van Nuys Airport at 7:22, the Piper Malibu, registration November 123 Sierra Bravo, begins its northbound journey toward Oregon. The route ahead stretches around 650 nautical miles, a flight expected to take just over 3.5 hours under instrument flight rules, at a planned cruising altitude of 14,200 feet, and an average cruise speed of about 200 knots. Earlier that morning before departure, Mark reviewed the weather carefully, knowing conditions in Oregon could significantly affect the flight. At 4:17 a.m., he checked the latest for-flight briefing. Several advisories were active across the Pacific Northwest. AirMet Sierra warned of mountain obscuration from low clouds and rain, while AirMet Tango highlighted moderate turbulence and potential low-level wind shear below 2,000 feet. Winds aloft showed a strong southerly flow across Oregon, 25 to 45 knots, and expected to funnel through the Willamette Valley near Eugene. The area forecast called for widespread cloud cover, rain, and a chance of afternoon thunderstorms. Challenging as the forecast appears, the conditions remain well within the Malibu's capabilities. With his instrument rating and IFR experience, Mark feels confident that he can safely operate in instrument meteorological conditions, and complete the flight successfully. The time is now 10:19 a.m., nearly 3 hours after departure, as Mark begins the descent from 14,200 feet toward Eugene Airport. What started as subtle atmospheric changes along the way has now grown into a looming weather system ahead. The Malibu is skimming the edge of instrument meteorological conditions, just as forecasted earlier that morning. At around 10:37, Cascade Approach, Eugene Airport's radar approach control facility, contacts Mark on the radio and asks him to confirm his heading.
Meridian 3 Sierra Bravo, say heading.
Pretty much 300. I'd like to continue our descent down if we could get a little lower now.
3 Sierra Bravo, descend to maintain 4,000 and turn right heading 330. Vector is ILS 16 left approach.
330 and 4,000. 3 Sierra Bravo.
The Malibu is now tracking northbound through unstable, worsening weather. Hand-flying the aircraft, Mark's workload is increasing rapidly. Hoping to escape the turbulence and rain, he requests a lower altitude. Cascade clears him to 4,000 feet and begins vectoring him toward the ILS approach into Eugene. Unaware of the complexity unfolding up front, the Zittings remain calm, reassured by the familiar motion of descent.
Number 3 Sierra Bravo, area of moderate to heavy precipitation observed 11 to 2 o'clock, 10 miles, 30 miles in diameter, northbound, tops unknown. It appears a lot of the precipitation on the left downwind has dissipated, so expect a left downwind for 16 left.
Okay, we're expecting a left downwind then for 16 left.
With every mile, Mark edges deeper into a volatile weather system. When Cascade Approach identifies a possible break in the precipitation along the left downwind leg, Mark acknowledges, still hand-flying through turbulence and deteriorating visibility. Whatever opportunity the weather offers is narrowing by the minute. In the cabin, the Zittings feel the growing instability as the aircraft bumps and sways beneath them. Mark then confirms receipt of information echo, the latest airport and weather data.
Number 3 Sierra Bravo, verify information echo.
We have echo. And we are getting heavy precipitation.
Number 3 Sierra Bravo, roger. Do you need vectors?
If you can vector me onto the localizer, that'd be good.
Number 3 Sierra Bravo, roger. You can expect a left base in 10 miles. Krishna, yep. A left base in about 8 miles.
After that, we'd like to continue our descent down to 2,000 if we can.
Number 3 Sierra Bravo, roger. And turn left heading 310 and expect 2,000 in about a mile.
310 and 2,000 miles.
The situation is escalating. Mark reports heavy precipitation, an indication that the Malibu is now flying through the core of the system. His request for vectors to the localizer suggests a rising workload and the need for support in aligning with the instrument approach. Descending toward 2,000 feet, the published minimum for the area, Mark is trying to stay ahead of both the weather and the aircraft. The flight is now fully committed to the approach, threading through a corridor of deteriorating weather.
3 Sierra Bravo, turn left heading 320.
320.
Meridian 3 Sierra Bravo, area of heavy to extreme precipitation observed 10 to 1 o'clock, 3 miles, 10 miles in diameter, northbound, tops unknown.
Yeah, we're experiencing it. It looked like it lightened up actually right here. Maybe it'll pick up again.
3 Sierra Bravo, it appears that way, sir.
Now in the heart of the weather cell, Mark confirms what ATC is seeing on radar. He's pressing through turbulence and near-zero visibility, hoping it'll clear by the time he intercepts the localizer. As ATC works to thread the aircraft between radar echoes, Mark is maneuvering through turbulence and rain with diminishing visibility. It's a tight corridor, and he's getting squeezed on all sides.
Area 3 Sierra Bravo, turn left heading 230.
Left 230.
Area 3 Sierra Bravo, 4 miles from Zunax, turn left heading 180, maintaining 2,000 until establishment localizer. Clear ILS, and runway 16 left approach.
Making 2,000 and left to 180, clear for the ILS approach.
In the cabin, the Zittings feel the aircraft shudder beneath them, seatbelts tugging tighter across their laps. What feels like only a restless descent is in truth an approach with no margin for error. Suddenly, the controller's voice breaks in, urgent and insistent.
3 Sierra Bravo, low altitude, check your altitude immediately. Climb maintain 2,000, the MVA in your area is 2,000. Meridian 123 Sierra Bravo, Cascade Approach. Meridian 123 Sierra Bravo, Cascade Approach, how do you hear?
Sadly, no response ever comes from November 123 Sierra Bravo. Instead, the next voice is that of a first responder on the ground calling 911 after discovering the wreckage and confirming the fate of all on board.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
I'm on Peoria Road, just north of Harrisburg, and a small aircraft just crashed into a field. Well, I'm at the plane crash right now. We're looking to see if there's anybody in it. 4 people.
4 people in the plane?
Yes. No pulses anywhere. 4 people, no pulse.
All 4 patients have no pulse?
Correct.
749, do we need to respond to the report of airplane down?
Heartbreakingly, the impact claimed the lives of all 4 on board, pilot Mark Aletky, along with John, Karen, and their 17-year-old son, Brendan Zitting. In the quiet farmland outside Harrisburg, Oregon, just 12 miles north of Eugene, investigators arrived to a scene marked by stillness. The Piper Malibu lay in an open field, its resting place stark against the wide expanse of grassland. Here, beneath unsettled skies, the full extent of the tragedy began to take shape. What investigators found was sobering. The aircraft had struck in a level attitude, leaving a compressed impact scar in the soft soil. Both wings, the fuselage and tail, remained attached, though all displayed severe crushing and fragmentation from the force of the collision. The propeller blades bore deep gouges and twisting, consistent with rotation at the time of impact. Scattered debris trailed only a short distance behind the wreckage, showing the airplane had come down intact. Surrounding vegetation lay flattened in broad swaths, silent testimony to the violent forces unleashed in the crash. In the months that followed, investigators worked to piece together the Malibu's final moments. With no flight recorder on board, they relied on radar and ADS-B tracking, which provided altitude, speed, and heading data. The picture that emerged showed a flight that was routine for more than 3 hours before the descent into Oregon. At 8,000 feet, the pilot checked in with Cascade Approach and was cleared for the ILS, runway 16 left. Controllers warned of heavy precipitation ahead, and soon the Malibu was reporting rain. Approach cleared the airplane down in stages, eventually to 2,000 feet as it threaded through the weather. 4 miles from the Lunac fix, Cascade gave the final approach clearance, a left turn to heading 180, maintained 2,000 feet, and cleared for the ILS, runway 16 left. The pilot read it back calmly, but those words would be the last anyone heard from him.
Making 2,000 and left to 180, clear for the ILS approach.
What happened next is captured in the ADS-B data. After beginning its turn to the assigned heading of 180, the Malibu kept banking left, continuing through a sweeping arc of nearly 270 degrees. The track shows the airplane leveling briefly on a westerly heading before entering a steep descent, dropping rapidly across the valley floor. The data ends just outside Harrisburg, the point of impact on an open farm field, only 12 miles north of Eugene Airport. During those final moments, weather data shows the Malibu was flying through an environment primed for convective activity. Radar indicated heavy bands of precipitation sweeping across the valley, with embedded turbulence hidden inside the rain. Model soundings revealed unstable low-level air and strong shifts in wind direction. Downdrafts in the region were capable of more than 3,000 feet per minute, far beyond the Malibu's ability to climb. Investigators believe that when the airplane turned onto its assigned heading of 180, it was caught in a microburst, a sudden column of sinking air that created violent wind shear and drove the airplane into the ground. A silent testimony to the destructive forces unleashed by such weather phenomena could be seen in the surrounding vegetation, flattened in broad expanses around the impact site. In its final report, the National Transportation Safety Board determined that the crash resulted from the Malibu's encounter with a microburst, leading to a loss of control and impact with terrain. Investigators also cited a contributing factor. Air traffic control had not solicited or relayed pilot weather reports from other aircraft in the vicinity, reports that described turbulence and wind shear on approach into Eugene. Those warnings, though available, never reached Mark Aletky. Had they done so, the outcome might have been different. Yet equally, had he elected not to depart that morning, knowing the forecasts already painted a marginal picture, this tragedy might have been avoided altogether. These are not open questions, but sobering reflections on how precarious the balance can be between choice, chance, and consequence in the unforgiving world of aviation. Brendan's trip to Oregon was meant to open a door to the future, shared with his parents on a journey of hope. Pilot Mark Aletky had come to aviation later in life, pursuing it with determination. Yet, their journeys ended in the silence of a field outside Eugene, a story cut short, yet carried in memory, and in the reminder of how thin the line is between hope and loss in aviation.